Our topic this morning is the power of community. The global vision for the year is a world that works for everyone. And the topic for the month is wholeness and gratitude. And we practice wholeness and gratitude. We enjoy wholeness and gratitude through our community. So the power of community. Community is defined as a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Also, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. A group of people who have the same interests, religion, race, etc. So our community might be the friends we hang out with, might be the people we work with, might be our social community, the social network on Facebook or Twitter. It could be our spiritual community. And our community could be the people, the family that is chosen or biological that we're going to spend Thanksgiving with. Because those are the folks that we bond with somehow. Now, community, especially in the form of family, can be a wonderful thing, and it can be an interesting thing. Now, I personally happen to know some people who are dreading sitting across the Thanksgiving table from folks that they know have a totally different political viewpoint, knowing that there's some tension there, that there's going to be some tension. And some will choose not to discuss it out loud, and yet they might have some things going on in their mind, I don't know if you've ever had these conversations in your mind where you're talking to the other person but not really out loud, and sometimes even arguing with them but not really out loud. I personally have done that, so I have a little experience with it. And then there'll be some that will go into the arguing, that will go into defending, that will go into acting like the election has not already happened. And that's certainly the kind of dinner conversation that might not be good for digestion. But what else can we do? How can we, within our families and within our circles of friends, get together in ways that feel safe and supportive in this time? It's still pretty challenging for a lot of people. And why am I talking about this at church? What does it have to do with our spiritual principles and leading lives based on those spiritual principles? Well, we teach oneness. One people, living as one family, on one planet, living as one family. We all are one. And as we live that principle, the world is blessed. Ernest Holmes has said, there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. So if we can get this to come up on the screen, I'll have you repeat it with me. There's only one life.
That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
But it seems to me that life has not been getting along with itself very well. Maybe you've noticed. We've seen expressions of that one life engaging in some extremely unskillful behaviors. And that's not the truth of who we are as one people. What if we can use the power of community along with our spiritual values to create something that's harmonious, something that spreads peace in the world instead of division? What if there was one family that embraced all people that could get along with each other? Can you imagine it? Can you imagine the world as one harmonious community? Now, sure, in every family there are those who are interesting characters. And Actually, as I look around here, I see that you might be some of them. What if each of us has chosen to be alive at this time, in this country, on this planet, just so that we could do our part to bring humanity into a greater knowing, a greater expression of the oneness that is our truth? What if there's a grace and a serendipity that surrounds us and is leading us as individuals, as a community, and as a nation into something greater and grander than we have ever even imagined? Serendipity. It comes from a Persian fable, a Persian story from long, long ago. And it's in the story, a king wants his 3 sons, the princes of Serendip, which is the name of the kingdom, the princes of Serendip. He wants them to go out and get some experience so that they will be great leaders and so that they will experience the world and see what's there. And he sends them out to find treasure and wisdom. Well, the 3 princes of Serendip go out and have mishap after mishap. Could be like one of those movies we see where everything just keeps going wrong. And yet somehow, for these young men, for these princes, there is a grace that comes in. And sometimes when it seems like they're going to lose not only all of their treasure, all of their fortune, but their lives as well, this serendipity, this grace enters. And they end up just having wonderful outcomes where they get fortunes, where they get answers, where they get wisdom. And that's where the word serendipity comes from. And I believe that there is some serendipity and some grace going on in each of our lives. Because those sons, they had goals, they set out for goals, but they usually didn't reach those goals. They usually found something even better that emerged for them to support them. Here on the screen, next slide please, is a quote about that. It was as though an unseen power was guiding them better than they could guide themselves. And they came to know that what was best for them in the long run would be their experience anyway. And consequently, they were very serene. There is an unseen power that can guide us when we're willing to follow that guidance. Ernest Holmes said, there's a power for good in the universe that we can use that is greater than we are, and we can use it. That is what we teach. Spirit is here for each one of us. Guiding, leading. Spirit is here for our nation. Somehow. Now, I don't know how. I don't know what's going to happen. But if we're willing to let that power that we sometimes call God lead the way, if we're willing to visualize a nation of harmony and peace and equality, it can happen. We don't know how. But if enough of us can hold that vision, the part of God that we call the law, the part that has all the stuff and all the know-how and turns our thoughts into experiences and things, that part can create what we hold in vision. Not always easy though. So we can hold the vision, and if we can hold the vision, Spirit can make it happen. So how do we use this power? Well, first of all, what do? First of all, there are some things that we need to stop doing in this particular time. We need to stop otherizing, and we need to stop awfulizing. Now, when we otherize, we say, oh, these are my people. They think like I do. this is my tribe. Oh, yeah. Oh, but those other people, they don't think like I do. They are not my tribe. So that's what we do when we otherize. Now, I have to admit, I've been guilty of that some in this election cycle, but I am committed to not otherizing. When I catch myself, I'm just going to remember that one people living on one planet, as one family, we are one. And we can often also stop awfulizing. Has anybody else done any awfulizing? Okay, maybe a couple. I heard my wife tell me, so I guess so. Now, if we keep saying it's awful and it's getting worse, guess what we are creating?
More of that.
More of that. And if we are saying, wow, we now have a chance for change, but those Hillary supporters, they're not going to let it happen. If we're saying that, what are we creating? More of that. Whatever it is we're dwelling on, be it good, bad, indifferent, what we want, what we don't want, that is what we're creating. So what can we do? Now, I just happen to have some suggestions, as you may have thought. We can return to our teaching of oneness and wholeness. We can take responsibility for co-creating our future. We can take responsibility as individuals, as a spiritual community, as a nation, and as a world. Because folks, we are the ones that are creating it. Now, there are others. What we're experiencing on a national level is the combination of what everybody is thinking, but we can be the change we want to see in the world. We can be the ones that are starting to step up, along with zillions of others. We can be the ones that make a difference. It starts with us as individuals. What I choose to do with my consciousness, what I choose to talk about, what I choose to do with my actions is the energy that I'm putting out into the world. What you choose to do with your consciousness, with your words, with your actions, with your beliefs, is the energy that you're putting out into the world. And all together, we get what we create. We decry the loss of civil discourse, and yet sometimes, I mean, we're human, sometimes we fall into that place of judgment. We can catch ourselves when we do that. I mean, we have these amazing minds that we get to use. And so if we start to see ourselves going into judgment or fear, we can get a new thought, think a new thought, choose something different. Now, my commitment also is to remember that evolution is going on. Humanity has been evolving and evolving and evolving. And there have been times that looked like all was lost. And yet humanity ended up in a greater place. We are part of that evolution. We get to help form it. Now, we may not see the ultimate good that will come from all that we experience in our lives. And yet, we can trust that there is an evolution going on that we are part of. And of course, what each of us can do is listen to the guidance that we are given for what's ours to do. What action is ours to take. Maybe there's some issue that came up in the election that you feel especially strong about. You can work for that. Lots of people are doing that, and that can make a difference. Reverend Gregory Toole wrote, "Certainly we should be vigilant and stand up to anything that would roll back progress around equality or any other area. At the same time, I believe the greater call is to take the opportunity to see where we each are not fully stepping up to fulfilling our own calling." So you get to think about what you are called to do in this world. We can be aware of when our buttons are being pushed. When we get charged, we lose the sense of the big picture. We can't see the forest for the trees when our buttons are getting pushed. And so it's important for us not to get hooked. There's a Buddhist cartoon that shows 3 fish swimming around a hook. And one of them wisely says, "The secret is non-attachment." And so that's the truth for us. Don't get hooked. If someone wants to argue, you don't have to do it. Instead, we can find ways to express our feelings. We can write, we can journal, we can talk to practitioners, we can talk to beloved friends who will let us express and yet not go down the rabbit hole with us, and we can be of service in the world. We can also, in our various communities, move into conscious dialogue. We can talk. We don't have to scream, we don't have to argue, we can have civil discourse. Now, that happens best if we have some ground rules. Some ground rules such as speaking personally, not attacking each other. And one that is sometimes hard for us is not trying to change the other person's mind, but to listen for understanding. Because I think we all want the same things. We want health, we want happiness, we want work that's important, we want prosperity. We want for our children and our grandchildren a greater world. So even though we go about it in different ways, I think we all pretty much want the same thing. And so in our conversations with others, that it's important to listen, to understand, to see what is it the other person really values. What's important. Now, I've been thinking about creating some opportunities together and have some discussions here within our community. And I don't know if people are interested in that or not, but it's something that we can do. So if that calls to you, just drop me an email or let me know after service. I'm thinking of starting some conversations, probably not until the first of the year, but there will be conversations in which people can talk about what's important to them so that we can connect. Now, there's another thing that we can do to help create community, a world that works for everybody. And this is something that some of you might not like, patience. Patience. Now, sometimes I just hate it when somebody tells me to be patient, because I want a world that works for everybody, and I want it now. Now. But you and I know in our teaching that everything is created twice. First as an idea, and then it comes into manifestation. Think of the chair you're sitting on. First, somebody had an idea to create that chair. And then they, of course, figured out how to do it, the manufacturing process, and what fabrics to use, and what metal, and how it would fold up. But everything is created first as an idea, and that is true in our lives as well. Everything we experience, everything that we see. And when it comes to spiritual growth and changing the world we live in, it takes some patience. It takes some patience. And it seems like we haven't had a lot of that. But in order to allow things to unfold, we have to just give it time, give it space. Because patience is the gift that we give to Spirit to do what it's doing for us. Patience is the gift that shows that we trust that our good is coming and that we don't have to run around like crazy people forcing things to happen. Sometimes what gets in the way of patience is fear, but we can't let that stop us. We are here for a reason, as a community, as individuals, as family members. So we can't let our fear stop us. No matter where you are or what you are facing, if fear is getting in your way, I encourage you to work with that. Get some prayer, talk to a practitioner, therapist if you need to, but we have to not be guided and held back by our fear. So we can do our personal work. We commit to our individual spiritual practices. Here, of course, we teach the importance of prayer and meditation. We teach the importance of visioning and of repeating and remembering positive affirmations about what we want in life, what we're willing to have flow through us, what we want to give. And so those spiritual practices, taking time each day. If you're not doing that already, I invite you to begin your day with at least a few minutes. Now, you can read, we have a wonderful Science and Mind magazine, and if you don't have a copy of this month's, there's some out in the lobby. There are daily guides, daily readings that are powerful. It could be that, it could be something else. But start your day with something that is inspiring, something that will allow you to be the best you can be throughout your day. So we can do our spiritual practices. We can listen to each other and have conscious dialogue. We can serve together. There's a group of us that works at the Sister Carmen Food Bank on Wednesday mornings. And we work with a bunch of other people who have different political ideas, different ways of looking at the world, different religious beliefs, and yet we work together. You know, we're all putting soup on the shelves and sorting through the produce and getting things ready for the shoppers that will come to the food bank. And we connect when we do that. It doesn't matter that our ideas are different. So as we serve together, we connect in community. That is the power of community. One of the ways that we can do that is we can give thanks together, which brings me to Wednesday night's Thanksgiving Eve service. So at 6:30, we will gather. We will share our gratitude. And we all know that as we stand in gratitude, we are given even more to be grateful for. As we stand in gratitude for our love, we're given even more love. As we stand in gratitude for our health gets even better. And so join with us on Wednesday evening at 6:30 for gratitude. And now, in that gratitude, let's move into prayer. As practitioners, stand with me in high consciousness. I absolutely know that there is one family, one people, and it all comes from the one source, the one intelligence that goes by so many names. I call it Spirit, I call it God. It is called other things, and yet what it is called doesn't make any difference because it is the power, it is the creative process that has birthed everything, that lives in, through, and as each of us. It is our very breath. It is the life that lives us. And so because we are one with that, because I am one with it, because I know that each one hearing my voice is one with it, I absolutely know that the creative process is mine to use. That what I can speak into the law will be manifested. And so I speak my word for peace. I speak my word for thanksgiving, that as we are in this week of Thanksgiving, each of us goes forth remembering all that we are thankful for. And so I claim that throughout our days, the days that are coming, that we not only give thanks for this spiritual community and for our larger community, but we are reminded in clear and tangible and delightful ways all of the little things that we have to be thankful for. Surprises from the universe. Loved ones that we hear from. Peaceful situations. Wonderful conversations. We are so, so blessed. And in gratitude for all of our blessings and the ones that are yet to come, I simply release this word into the law, letting it go, letting God do what God does so well, which is create on our behalf. And so knowing that all I have spoken is now ours to use and share and enjoy, I invite you to say with me, and so it is.